Good evening, everyone. This is BremSter, and tonight I'm going to try and solve Dance Party Disco Ball by Sotek. This is the second puzzle in the Dance Party trilogy of 10-line puzzles that Sotek has created. And full disclosure here, this is not the first time I've solved this puzzle, sort of. I got very stuck while trying to solve this puzzle the first time I did it. So what I did is I got some hints and of where to look. I've reset the grid and I am trying it a couple of days later. So I remember vaguely what I needed to look for, because what's most important is I present a good puzzle to you, a good puzzle solve to you, not that it's much more important to me that I can present the puzzle to you well than anything else. So yeah, I would prefer to give you a non-blind solve, but I did leave it a bit so that it wouldn't be crystal clear in my head. So what else? As of this coming out, yesterday there should be a video on the channel, which is the ability to vote for the best of 2024. That video, which I'll try and remember to link below, but may forget, is if you search for best of 2024 on the channel, but it should be a recent video. On that video, what you can do is you can just post a comment, which there is a Solve Videos 2024 playlist, which is linked in that video. But if you just post one of the puzzles, the puzzle name and the setter of a puzzle that you think you like, you can look through as a comment, as the first line of the comment. We will then try and link to those videos, but what will happen is you can then upvote people who have also voted on the puzzles that you like. If someone else has posted the puzzle you like, try to not repeat it, just upvote and possibly reply to their comment, so that you're not splitting the vote, because the way you vote is just upvote comments. I'm a bit overwhelmed by needing to do this. It's quite late at night and yeah, stuff is just out of control. Let's have a look at the puzzle. This is Dance Party Disco Ball by Sotek, and I know this is going to take a while, or probably. So what do we have? We have normal Sudoku rules apply. So in every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. We have 10 lines. Digits on 10 lines must be divided into one or more non-overlapping sections that each sum to 10. So for example, on this 10 line, we could potentially have those 3 cells sum to 10, and then those 2 sum to 10, and then those 3 sum to 10, and then those 2 sum to 10. That might work, but you couldn't, for example, turn around and say those 3 sum to 10, and then those 3 sum to 10, because this would be an overlapping section of 10. So the way it works is they must be non-overlapping sections. And each line has to be divided. Digits could repeat on lines, so it might be possible, for example, for those both to be 4 and that to be 2. That might be a valid way to make 10 in a section like that, but how it works, do not know. And then odd and even. Blue squares must be even, and yellow squares must be yellow circles must be odd. We've gone with colors because it's a disco theme. Now, one thing is, the 3 puzzles in this set were designed to be solved in order. So yesterday there was a puzzle called Dance Party Dance Floor, and that puzzle should be solved before this one. That first puzzle teaches you techniques that you'll probably need to solve this one. And then the third puzzle, which I haven't tried yet, I'm really hoping it won't be too bad because I'll run out of time. Yeah, we'll have to see how that goes. So I'm going to restart the puzzle to restart my timer. Let's give this a shot. So what did I learn from the first puzzle? I have rewatched my solve of the first puzzle to remind myself. So what I learned from the first puzzle is these shapes in column 1 and column 9 are incredibly important, because how can we divide up these lines? So we can't make this a 4 run of digits, because if this was a 4 run of digits, and the question I'm asking basically is, where does 5 go? Actually, I can just ask, where does 5 go in this row? Because if 5 goes on the line, it couldn't go in any 2 segment. Now, because a 2 segment with a 5 would have to be 5, 5. Now you could put 5, 5 somewhere like that, but you can't put 5, 5 on this line. If you put 5 into a 3 segment, that's okay, but you can't put 5 into a 2 segment. Now, if I'm trying to think how to explain this, I'm a little sorry, everyone. I'll do my best. This has been a very, very weird weekend. So, okay, how does this work? Or week. It feels like the weekend because it's middle of holidays. So, 5 on the line would have to be part of a 3 segment. Now, I can't do a 4 segment here. Now, if I did a 4 segment here, what would happen? Now, these couldn't also be a 4 segment because a 4 segment would need to be 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this couldn't be a 3 segment because a 3 segment, well, this couldn't be anything really, because with 1, 2, 3, 4 here, this couldn't be a 2 segment. The minimum would be 5, 6, which is 10, and it just doesn't work. A 3 segment would be even worse. Now, I can't do a 4 segment here because that would leave this as a 10. I can't do a 4 segment here because this 2 would be broken. I can't do a 4 segment here. This 3 would be broken. I can't do a 4 segment here because it's exactly the same as putting a 4 segment here. These would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then how do I break this up? This would have to be 2 2s, and I can't do a 2 without a low digit, and I could potentially do one of them, but I couldn't do both because a 10 in 2 has to be a low digit from 1, 2, 3, 4 and a high, and it just doesn't work because I don't have enough low digits. I need a 1, 2, 3, 4 in there, a 1, 2, 3, 4 in there, and I've got 5 1, 2, 3, 4s. So I can't use a 4 lengths. Now, if I put a 5 on here, there must be a 3 length on the line. And how do I do a 3 length? Well, if I put a 3 length onto the line, this is all stuff I learnt in the first puzzle. If I put a 3 length onto the line, how do I do the rest of the line? Well, I could do a 2 and a 3, but I can't do a 2, 2 and a 1. And I could do a 3 and a 2, but I can't do a 4 at all. And there's no way you can do 10 in 5. So this would be 2 3s and a 2. Okay. And it could be a 3, a 2, and a 3. But if you put a 3 on a line, it must be 3, 3, and 2. It's the only way to break the line up because a length 5 line, which is what would be left over, must be a 3 and a 2. So if there's a 3 length on the line, it's 3, 3, and 2. If there's no 3 length on the line, it's 2, 2, 2, 2, because you can't put 10 in 1, and on these lines, you can't put 10 in 4. Okay, now, if you put 5 on the line, or sorry, you can't put 5 on the line. So where does, sorry, I'm really not thinking clearly. Possibly I shouldn't be recording this, but I am running out of time. Where does 5 go? So if 5 is on the line, there must be a 3 lengths. If there's no 5 on the line, then there... I've lost it. If there's a 5 on the line, there must be a 3 length because you must put 5 in 3. Right. No, this is how it works. Now, if you put 5 on the line, there must be a 3 lengths, which would mean, what can the sum of the line be? Because the line would then have to be broken up into a 3, I don't know how it would work, and oops, let's not use purple again, a 3, and a 2. Now, I don't know how they're broken up, but it's a 3, and a 2, which means the line sums to 30. But if this line sums to 30, what comes into play is the entire top row sums to 45 because of the rule of 45. The row contains all of the digits 1 through 9. And if you add the digits 1 through 9, you get to 45. Sorry, I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this. These would all sum to 45. But this line sums to 30, and these sum to a minimum of 29. So how would that work? Now, if this was a 1, these would sum to 29. 45 minus 29 is 16, and this couldn't be because this would be 8, 8. So that doesn't work. If this was a 1, that would have to be an 8 because this would sum to 29, and this would have to be an 8 to make it all work. If this is a 2, because this would be a 30 line. And remember, this could be down here, but we're assuming this is the line. If this is a 2, then these would sum to 28 plus 8 is 36, and this would be a 9. Right, and this would be a 9, but if this was a 3, these would sum to 27 plus 8 is 35, and that'd have to be a 10. So one of these is a 2 with a 9. Okay, now the question is, Now the question is 5. Can I do... But if this is the 2 and this is 8, 9... There was a trick with 5s, and I should have studied more to remember it, because I can't repeat that trick again. This was forced by this line being 30. I can't also make this line 30. So if I put 5 on this line, there's a 3 band on it. And if there's a 3 band on it, because you can't, and the reason for that is you can't put 5 in a 2 band. If there's a 3 band on it, this line sums to 30, and this would have to be 2 and this would have to be 9. That doesn't work. So I can't, because I can't put another 9 in it, and that's assuming this is the 3 band. So this can't be a 3 line. This has to be a 40 line, which means these are all doubles. And if these are all doubles, then I can't put a 5 on the line. And this means this would have to be a 5. And then you reverse that logic. And then if it's the other way round, these become a 5-9 pair. And the reason for that is the only way that this works with a 5 on the line is if this is a 9, and this is the same. The only works with a 5 on the line is if this is a 9. So if there's no 5 on the line, the 5 is here. If there is a 5 on the line, this is a 9. And it's the same here. So I can't put 5 on both of these lines, because if I did, both of those would have to be 9. So this becomes a 5-9 pair. Now, if this is a 5, these are all doubled as pairs, and these are all pairs. So this would be 10, this would be 10, this would be 10, this would be 5, and this would have to be the partner of the 8. This would be 2, whoops, this would be 2, and this would be 8. And the same reflects this way. So this would be 2 or 8, because the reason that is this is 2 if this is 9, because if this is 8, 9, that the 2 is forced by this having to be a 3 sum. And the fact that 2 works with this being 8, 9 by the fact that this is a 30 line, these become 28, so these have to sum to 17. So this is a 2-8 pair. Now, even odd colouring is important in this puzzle, I think. So we get to that. Let's mark all of these as even and all of these as odd. These also need to be marked as odd, as does, whoops, I did that wrong. All of those are, yeah, all of these, what's going on? Okay, so let's just do it manually. All of these are even, all of these are odd. Okay, now. Okay. Okay. So one of these has to be 2, 8 with a 2 and an 8, because one of these is going to be a set of pairs. So if this is 2, 8 or this is 2, 8. But if this is 2, 8, If this is 2, 8, you can never put 2 on this line, because if this is 2, 8, that's a 2. Because this is 2, 8. Yeah. So if this is 5, this becomes 2, 8, because this becomes the partner of that, and this becomes 2, 8, and there's a 2 looking this way. So there must be a 2 in one of those two. Because if this is a 5, then this becomes a 2, 8 pair. But if this is a 9, in order for the math of the line to work, that is a 2. So there's 2s pointing in these columns. So there can never be a 2 on here. So where's the 8 in this column? Because I can't put 8 down here, can I? Because if I put 8 onto a 10 line, the only way you can put 8 onto a 10 line, you can't do it in a single, because you can never have a single cell in a 10 line. As a double, it needs to be 8, 2. As a triple, it needs to be 8, 1, 1. And that's it. So the only way you can put 8 onto a 10 line is with 8, 2. And I can't put 8, 2 in any of these because you can't put 2 on this 10 line. So you can never put 8 on this 10 line. So can't put 8 there, can't put 8 there. This is 8. And because one of these had to be 2, this is the 2. This is not the 2. This is the 2 because one of these had to be 2, 8. And that's the 2, 8, which means this line is broken up that way. And this line has to have the triples on it. But with this being the 2, 8, this is a 4 or a 6. This is a 2, 8. This is a 4 or a 6. This is now a 4 or a 6 because this is broken up into double segments. But with this being the double segments, I can't put 5 in any of those. So that's the 5, that's the 9, which is what makes this work for these being 17 and these being 28, because 17 plus 28 is 45, which is the math for the column. Now, this can't be an 8, so this can't be a 2 length because I can't put an 8 there. This is a 3 length section. And these are all odd. These are 1, 9 or 3, 7. That can't be a 9, so that can't be a 1. This, oh, hang on, this sees 8, 4 and 6. That's a 2. So 2 is down here, but it's not here. If that's a 2, actually, I'm not sure about that. 2 is in one of those 3. Eight is in one of those 3, but I can, if 8 was here, this would have to be a 2. And then this would be another 10 sum. I think that works. How does this line work? Right, hang on. How does this line work? I'm remembering little bits of this, but only as I'm rediscovering them. So please don't call this a blind solve. But how does this work? Because the only way you can split a 4-cell 10 line, I can't do a 3 and a 1 because you can't put 10 into a single cell. So the only way you can split a 4-cell 10 line is either into 2 lots of 2 or 1 lot of 4. But this can't be 2 lots of 2 because this would have to be 2, 8, and I can't make this 2, 8. This is a lot of 4. So these are 1, 3, 4 because 1, 2, 3, 4 equals 10. That can't be a 4. There's a 4 in one of those two. These are 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are 5, 6, and 7. There's no 5 there. That's the 5. This is a 6, 7 pair. There's no 7 there, so there's no 3 there because that sums to 10. And these are from 1, 2, 3, 4 without that being a 2. 4 is in one of those. 6 is in one of those two. But 8 can't go on this line. So this has to be the 8. This has to be an 8. Because I can't put 8 on this line because 8 can only go into a 2-cell section. So this has to be the 8, which puts 8 into one of those two. Now, if 8 was here, 8 can't go here. 8 could only go in a 2-cell section. It would have to go here, and this 8 plus an odd digit doesn't work. This is the 8. Which means 8, not sure what that's doing. This can't be, so this has to be either two 2-cell sections or a 4-cell section. It can't be a 4-cell section because I can't put a 2 on it. So this line is 2 sections, and this has to be odd because 10 is even, and you get to an even digit by summing 2 odd digits or 2 even digits. So these are both odd, and they're either 1, 9 or 3, 7. They couldn't be 5, but they never could be because I can't do 5, 5. These are either 4, 6, or the other 2 odd digits. What are these? These have to sum to 8. So they have to... These could be 1, 7. They can't be 2, 6. They could be 3, 5. And that's it. So those are both odd. So where is the 6 in this column? If I put a 6 here, this would have to be 6, 1, 3. Okay, so let's look at where 6 can be. 6 is in one of those 3 because I can't put 6 here and I can't put 6 into an odd cell. So if 6 was here, how would it work? These would 2 digits would have to sum to 4. These would be 6, 1, 3. That'd be 7, 9. 6 can't be there. 6 is in one of those 2. Now, if 6 is here, if I went up with 6, 1, 3, this would be 5, 7. I can never do 6, 1, 3. The only way to do 6 as a 3-cell sum is 6 and 2 digits that sum to 4, which is 6, 1, 3. If this was 6, 1, 3, this would be broken because this would be 2, 5, 7, which sums to 14. 6 has to be part of a 2-cell sum. I can't do a 2-cell sum from a 6 here because if I did 6 and 4, the 6, 4 would be here, and that would be a single digit, which would have to be a 10. That's not a 6, that's a 6, which is even, and then I can never do 6, 1, 3. I need to do a 6, 4, but I can't put a 6, 4 here. That would leave that alone. That's the 4, and then that's a 1, 3, which means that's even. The 1, 3 pair makes that the 2. Sorry, 1, 3 pair, which is odd. This is the 2, which is even. This is the 4, which is even. This is broken here. So this is a 3-cell sum, which must contain a 2. And the 2 must be here. Where can I put 2 in this column now? That is the 2, which is even, and there's a 4 in there. I'm not sure about that yet. But these are 2 digits that sum to 8, which are 1, 3, 5, 7. And that is odd. So oh no, these could be odd. Or they could be 4, 6. No, these can't be odd. If these were odd, if these were 1, 9, this would be 3, 7, and that would have no fill. If these were 3, 7, this would be 1, 9, and that would have no fill. These are even and are 4, 6. Which means that's the 7 and that's the 6. So that's even and that's odd, which means this isn't 3, 7, this is 1, 9, this is 3, this is 1, this is 9, and there's no 1, 9 in here. This is 3, 7, taking 3 out of here. This is 1, 4, This is the 3. 3 and 5 are both odd. I really want to check if this is correct. These are 1, 7, and 8. The 1, 9 takes 1 out of there. 2 and 7... This can't be a 7 anymore, because if this was 7, those two would sum to 9, and that would need to be a 1. There's no 7 there. This is a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 9. Well, that can't be a 6. Now I think we're getting to the trick where we needed to put a lot of work into this. I actually had to go back to Sotek and we worked through it together. And this is a bit where these are both odd. This isn't it. These are both odd and must contain a 9, because where do I put the 9? Now, there may be another way through. But the question we now needed to ask was about 9s on this line. Because we need to put a 9 on the line in row 9. And the only way you can put 9 onto the line is... The only way you can put 9 onto a line is in a 2-cell sum, which is a 9-1 pair. Right. Now, I can have a maximum of 2 1s on the line. How does this line get broken up? I could do a 2, a 2, a 2, a 2, and a 3. 3, 3, 3, and 2. But I can never put a 2 onto this line because of the 2's looking down. And if you don't use a 2 in a 3-cell 10 sum, you must use a 1. So I can only have a maximum of 2 3-length lines. But if I did a 3-length line and a 3-length line, I then can't make up the rest of the line. So I don't think I can have more than 1 3-length. Now, I can't do all 2s. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 would leave me with a hangover. So that doesn't work. If I did 2 3-lengths with a 3-length, let's just say this was a 3-length. So let's say I broke it here and here. Okay. Or let's say I did it somewhere else. But let's say... Yeah, I'm not even sure how I do it, but let's say those were a 3-length. Let's not even worry about the box at the moment. How would I break this up? I can't use another 3-length because I've only got 2 1s to play with. So I can never use another 3-length, and I can't split a 5-cell line up into only 3s, and I can't use a 4 because I've already used the 2 1s in the 2 3-lengths. So I can only use 1 3-length. And that's important as well because I need to put a 9 on this line down here, which has to be a 9-1. So there's a 1 used on this line down here. Now, there is a 1 used on this line down here, but there must be a 3-length as well, which uses another 1. The question is, and this was the question that really stumped everyone, and when I went back to Sotek and said, I can't solve it, the question boiled down to, could this be a 9? Because if this could be a 9, then I can get the 9 in both this row and this column covered at the same time. I could do a 9-1 in one of these and still be able to put a 1 over here for a 3 sum and get some leeway. And we had to go back and try and figure out why this can't be a 9. And what we came up with was moderately insane. This puzzle is hard. It was rated a little easier, but here's what we came up with. Let me know what you think. So, row 9, we know sums to 45. The green cells sum to 45. These green cells sum to 45. So these green cells and these green cells sum to 90 with this cell being counted twice. So the green cells with row 9, column 9 being counted twice sum to 90. I can remove those cells from green and I have to get to 80. I can remove those cells and I have to get to 70. But I know the sum of this line because it's a 3, a 2, a 2, a 2, and a 2. So it's 50. There's no other way of making up the line. So this line sums to 50. So if I remove the green from here, I've removed 70, and these cells have to sum to 20. But these are two odd digits. Not only are these two odd digits, these green cells that are left have to sum, and I'll make them actually dark. I'll make them dark green. I think they'll stand out more. These dark green cells have to sum to 20. Now, with those having to sum to 20 and these both being odd, this digit here must be even and can't be a 9 anymore. So the 9 down here has to be on here. This is even. So it's 4 or 6. Now, how do I get these summing to 20? If this is a 1, these would need to sum to 18. I can't do it. If this is a 3, those would need to sum to 17. I can't do it. If this is a 5, those would need to sum to 15, which I can do. And if this was a 7, those would need to sum to 13, which I can do. But if this is a 5, okay, now there is more going on here. So when I put, these are now all odd because I've got the 4, 6 and the 2, 8. And that's because this was even because of the way all of this worked. Now these are all odd. Now this is an odd and an even. And an odd and an even can't be a 2 cell summing to 10. So this is the 3 sum. And now all of these become the 2 sums because there's only one 3 sum on this line. Now with this being a 2 sum, this has to be even, and this is a 4, 6 pair. These are all of the odds. So these are odds that sum to 10. So these are 1, 3, 7, 9, and this becomes the 5. And I can take 5 out of all of these. 2, 5 is 7. That's the 3. That's the 1. That's the 7. And that's how that works. Now, these 2 cells here, with this being a 5, now have to sum to 15. So that's the 6. That's the 9. And that's the only way to make the math work. That I thought was absolutely crazy. The 3 here looks down saying that's not the 3, that's not the 7. The 9 here looks down saying that's not the 9, that's not the 1. Now, this can't be 1, 9, so that's a 3, 7, and these being 1, 5 does make that sum to 10. There's no 3 here, so there's no 7 here. This is the 1, 9, so this isn't the 1, 9, this is the 3, 7. Whew. This is a 7, 9 pair. That math trick in here, absolutely brutal. The 4 is looking up, making that the 1 and that the 4. So that is odd and that is even. There's no 9 in those. This is a 5, 6 pair. This can't be 1 or 5, so it's 3, 7 or 9. If this was a 9, this would have to be part of a 2-cell 10 sum, and I couldn't do it in those 2 cells because this would then have to be a 10 on its own. So I'd have to put a 1, 9 here, and that would break that cell. That can't be a 9. That's a 3-7 pair. Okay. This is a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are 3, 4, 5. There's no 4 there. This is an odd digit. If that's a 7, how would it work? Because if that's a 7, there's a lot of pressure there. I couldn't make it 7-3, 7-3, because I couldn't do 7-3 here. That'd have to be a 10, but I couldn't do 7-3 here because of the 3 looking down. So it'd have to be a 3-cell 10 sum. So I'd have to divide it by putting a line there. So I'd have to divide it, let's use green, that way. And these would have to be 1 and 2. Now, I can't do a 2-cell 10 sum in here, so this is instantly broken, isn't it? Because these would be 1 and 2. No, this could be 1, 2, 7 as well. So this would also have to be a 3-cell 10 sum and break there. And then how could I do the next one? I can't do a 2-cell 10 sum. So this would have to be a 4-cell 10 sum because I can't do it in 2. I can't do it in 3, or this would have to be 10 on its own. So this would be a 4-cell 10 sum, 4, 3, and this cell here would have to be 1 or 2, and that doesn't work because for this to be a 7, that's a 1, 2 pair, and all of those cells would have to be 1, 2. So if that's a 7, all of those are 1, 2, and it doesn't work. So that can't be a 7. This is a 3, which means this is a 5. Okay. The 3 looks up making that the 7 and that the 3. One is in one of those two, but I'm not sure that that's helping me much. So how does the 3 work? Actually, the bigger question, and this might be remembering rather than, I'm not sure, but I think it might be how does this work? Because if this was 5, these would be 2 digits that sum to 5. And while it looks like that's possible, I could do 2, 3, or I could do 1, 4. That might work. But then how would this work? Because I'm starting a 10 sum here. And while I could do 3, 2, I couldn't do 5. 4, 2 would need another 4, and I can't do it. And if I did 3, 2, 1, I'm then running into a 7, 8, and it's all broken. I can't make a 10 sum up here if this is part of the same thing. So this can't be part of a 3 sum. So this can't be part of this, and this has to be a 2-cell sum. So this breaks here. An even digit has to be even plus even. Because this is 4, 6, or 8. If this is 4, this is 6. If this is 6, this is 4. If this is 8, this is 2. So this is even. Now, the only way that this could have been the same digit if these were both 5, and they can't be. So this does break this way. Now, how does this work? 5, 4 would need a 1. That doesn't work. So this is 5, 3, 2. That is odd. This is the 4, which is even. And the 5, 3, 2 breaks this line here. So how's this going to work? I can't do 10 in those two cells. 1, 7 would need, yeah, I can't make this a 2-cell 10 sum. There's no combination of that. So this is a 3-cell 10 sum and the line breaks there. And then this is a 2-cell 10 sum. So this is a 7, which takes 7 out of there, forcing 7 onto here. And it can't be 7, 8. This is 1, 7. This is 8. 1, 7 sum, because if it was 7, 8, the sum is 15, not 10. This is 1, 7, which is 8, and I need a 2. So these are 2 and 8, which are even. This is 7, which is odd. Wow, that's done remarkably little. Two and 2 has put 2 into here. There's no 4 there, so there's no 6 there because of the 4. In fact, 4 is in one of those. Oh, the 2 makes that 6, so that is 4. The 4 looks up making that 6 and that 4. Three and 3 puts 3 in one of those two, but that 3 is looking down, making that the 3. So that is the 3, which makes that the 7 and that the 3. So 7 and 7 looks up, making that the 1 and that the 7. I could have coloured those odds odd a minute ago. So this is it. Oh, the 4 is looking up, saying that's not the 4, that's the 4. So that's even, and these are now all odd. Where's 7 in this row? 7, 7 puts 7 in one of those two, but this 7 is looking down saying that's not the 7, that's the 7. These are 1, 5, 9. That can't be a 1. So 1 in this row is in one of those two. Right, this is a 1, 5. So that is the 9, which makes that the 5, that the 1, that the 5. Those are all 5 odd digits. These are all even. These are 2, 6, and 8. There's no 6 in either of those two. That's the 6. And this now has to be odd because I've got all of the evens in the row. And that's a 1 or a 9, giving me a 1, 9 pair. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is a 5, 6 pair. Oh, the 9 is looking down, making that the 1. Which makes that the 9, which makes that the 1, which makes that the 9, and that the 1. These, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, these are an 8, 9 pair. The 9 is looking down, making that the 8 and that the 9. That is even and odd. This is the 8 that I haven't yet placed in the column. So these are 1 and 2. And the 1 is looking over, making that the 2 and that the 1. So that's the even and that's the odd. That's done remarkably little, hasn't it? So it's got to be these digits. I need to put a 2 in here somewhere. 2 is in one of those two. 3, 4, I need to put a 5 in here. Anywhere. 6, 7, I need to put an 8 in here. In one of those two. 9 in one of those two. Ah, no, it's this 6, which makes that the 5 and that the 6. So this is odd and even. Now 5... is 4, makes that 6 and that 4. The 6 makes that 5 and that 6. So this is odd and even. I'm going to get rid of these and do them again. Especially considering the 3 makes that the 7 and that the 3. That the 9. No. That the 3. The 7 looks across, making that the 9 and that the 7. So these are a pair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are 2 and 5. The 5 looks down, making that the 2 and that the 5. 2 is even. What am I doing? That the 5. 5 is odd. 2 is even. These are 8 and 9. The 9 looks down, so that's going to be the even and that will be the odd. So that's going to be 8 and 9, which makes that 2 and that 8. And that is the solution to the puzzle. This one was tricky. Now, we learned the trick about and I just completely forgot how to explain it. We learned the trick about this 5-9 pair, or wasn't sure it was going to be 5-9, but this being an 8 still forced it to be 5-9, with these shaped 10 lines with the restriction on what could go on the lines with the number of 1, 2, or 2 and 3 segments, forcing this. But in the previous puzzle, I had constraints on this. This one I didn't. But then the question had to be about the fact that the pointing 2s restricted 8 on this line, and then the 8s had to go somewhere. And with this being the 2-8, because the 8 couldn't go here because it was odd, this being the 2-8, that forced this to be the line that was broken into pairs, which made this the 5, this the 9, which made this the 2. Then this had to be a 3-cell sum, which means it couldn't take an 8, and I couldn't put 8 on this line, so this had to be an 8, and the whole thing breaking open from there. The trick, and I'll be honest with you, I had to go back to Sotek, and Sotek was really worried that it had failed in testing, and we worked together to find it, was the math in these rows to prove that had to be even. Really, really interesting stuff. And this is what happens with testing. People are human, and you can come up with a really interesting puzzle and just miss something. And it was why I couldn't get through the puzzle, and it's fine. I think this is a brilliant puzzle, and it has to use a whole heap of different types of logic. You are using the rule of 45, or the secret, if you will, in here and in here. And I love the fact that we're using the secret twice in these rows and these columns, because in case you weren't aware, 2025 is 45 squared. So look for puzzles where you can use the secret twice in 2025. It's kind of a theme. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And then the math being reused with the secret, or the rule of 45, if you will. I've been asked not to call it the secret, whatever, in this row and this column to prove this had to be even because of the total of this row and this column, and the fact that we knew how these values were going to break down and these had to be odd. Absolutely beautiful. I loved the way that worked. It's a really tricky spot. I think this would be probably a 4-star puzzle on Logic Masters Germany because of all of that. But as I said, we worked through it a couple of days ago. This is not a blind solve, but I wanted to present an amazing puzzle to you. I'm sure there will be people who watch this who manage to knock this out in 15 minutes. I'm sure there will be others who have to really rely on the video. This one is tricky. The next one I haven't tried yet, and I'm scared of it because apparently they ramp up in difficulty. However, when that judgment was made, there had been something misunderstood about the way all of this worked. But I love this puzzle. I love the math deduction. I love the way all of this is hanging together. I hope you're enjoying them too. A little bit more of a challenge to start the year. This is not going to be the new norm for my channel. I really want to focus on, I like 2 and 3 star puzzles, but I'm on holidays. I've got some time. I'm running out of time because I spent too much time relaxing on holidays, but that's on me. Thanks everyone for watching. Please leave comments below about what you thought of this one. As I said, it's all about presenting the puzzle rather than me doing a blind solve. Yeah, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. Thanks everyone for watching, and as always, good luck with your solving.